How we doing, everybody? It's Hayden and Josh back here for our last installment of What the Sales for our Marketing 3400 class. Really what we're looking for today is to just give you as much helpful pointers that we can for your role plays due on Wednesday. So it's an exciting time. I'm sure you're all excited to get on your Zoom calls and do your role plays. We just want to give you a couple final pointers to help you out for this final presentation for the class. So we have a little bulleted list here of some ones that we've used in the past and ones that we really think will help you just kind of narrow down and dig into the nitty gritty on some of the fine details for your role plays. So Hayden can start us off with number one here and we'll get right down to it.
All right, so starting with number one is my personal favorite, and that is slowly speaking. This is the most useful tool for your role play. What you're going to find is when you hop on the Zoom call, prior to Wednesday, you're going to be spewing facts and talking extremely fast. That's extremely natural with people talking during a sales role play. Is you're talking very quickly, you're trying to get your information out, you're nervous, you're excited, you're so well prepared, and you just start rattling facts off. Take a deep breath and slow it down, really backtrack and slowly talk through your talk tracks. Make it very simple for your buyer to follow and for your judge to be able to grade your score to make sure you're hitting all your boxes on your rubric. So that's my biggest piece of advice. It's number one here is just to slowly speak, slowly talk, take your time. You worked so hard for this. Don't let you talking so fast hurt your score that much. So just slow it down and walk through this. You're so well prepared and you're going to do great.
Mm-hmm. That's great advice. And for this one, I think we're just going to keep on moving down the line so you guys can get these tips pretty quick. So moving on to the needs identification, what we wanted to talk about here is spending enough time on this section. That's something that's incredibly important for any of these role plays in the sales process in general once you get out in the real world. So for this class specifically, the needs identification, like we talked about on our discussion of the rubric, it takes up a large portion of your grade. So that's one reason you want to spend a lot of time on it. But another good point is that based on what you uncover in this needs identification is going to direct the flow of the rest of your conversation with your buyer. So based on what you uncover here and the way that you're able to clarify things and figure out exactly what their needs are, that's going to direct how you're going to present Gartner to your buyer. So really making sure you have a full understanding of their problem, their pain points, and what they're really looking for is going to be crucially important to executing the rest of your role play and providing value that justifies your close at the end.
Absolutely. So that's a great point on needs identification. That's the meat and potatoes of this whole project. So make sure you knock that out of the park. So moving right along to budgeting your 15 minutes. This is one of the most asked questions we've got in our coaching session is, how do I go about my 15 minutes? So with this is what we found is with these intros, I would do for about a minute 30, have a really enjoyable conversation and be yourself, come off personable, make it unique. Then you want to transition into your needs identification. Ask your questions, uncover their goals, their challenges, their timelines, really come up with their current scenario and where Gartner could be beneficial for them. Then you want to get into the product presentation. Once again, a huge part of the rubric is the product presentation. Show them why a relationship with Gartner would be such a wonderful thing for them to do. Then you want to get into the overcoming objections. So that's making sure you clarify, overcome, and confirm the objection. Make sure you hit all three of those. We touched on those in our prior videos. So if you want a little recap on what exactly that is more in depth, you could watch our role play or our prior videos. And then lastly, close the sale. You did so good throughout the whole sales role play. Close it, set a hard date. Make sure you're not a passive closer while you're doing it. Make sure you're very aggressive when you close, and make sure you set a hard date down. That's very important. You did such a good job closing. Make sure you don't forget to close the sale.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of great information. And just to piggyback off that one real quick, for each one of those sections, if people are looking for a rough estimate of where they should be throughout their 15 minutes to kind of guide them, like Hayden said, minute 30, minute, 2 minutes. That's really all you want to be for the approach. Moving on to needs identification, like we already talked about, that's the meat and potatoes. So that usually is going to take you somewhere around like 8, 9, 10 minutes. Like I said, it's rough estimates, so it's going to depend on everyone's different role plays and different personalities and stuff, but somewhere around there, and then spending the next few minutes, maybe 4 or 5 minutes, demonstrating the product, answering some of the questions that they have. And you want to try and save about a minute or so for your close if you can. If you're a little bit rushed because you went on with the product presentation, I think you can still do it and have a good close. But giving yourself about a minute gives you a lot of time to have that good close, like Hayden was talking about. So next on down the line, not rattling off questions and being very well thought out with your questions. So this is going to be really important for that needs identification section like we've been focusing a lot on today. It's easy, like Hayden was talking about in the slowly speaking portion, to maybe be a little bit nervous for your role play, be excited, and you just want to talk a lot, and you're not as focused maybe on the listening portion of it. So if you're just going down a scripted list of a whole bunch of questions that you have, just kind of firing them off just to check the boxes, it's not going to be as well thought out as if you're really responding to what your buyer is saying. So instead of just rattling down a list, what I usually like to do is take some notes during it. So if I ask a certain question, they're going to give an answer. And then maybe instead of asking just another question I had previously written down, maybe asking a question based off the answer they just gave me. So really digging deeper and peeling that onion is going to help you have more thought out questions that can really get you to the core need of your buyer.
And then moving right along with that, as Josh was saying, peeling back the onion, find their pain, the implication on why Gartner would be such a great fit. This is going to be the core of the onion. You're peeling it back. You find out their current problem they're facing and how Gartner could be a solution. That's where you're going to be so pivotal in forming this relationship with Gartner, is you keep going back to that current task they're faced with that they're having such a hard time with. So I'm going to tie 5 and 6 together here. So you find that pain, and then you want to align that pain with the product. You should know the whole product line. You feel so familiar with it because you worked with it for the past couple of weeks. You should be able to, oh, you know what, they're having problems saving money. So you, boom, cost optimization. You should be able to align that in your head. So that's just finding that pain and implication so you can align that with the product and have no problem selling it at all, because you have such a wide array of background knowledge from needs identification and understanding their pain, that you can align that with the product and ultimately sell them Gartner.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point there. And then just really along with that, one of the last ones we have here is ensuring trial closes. And I know this is something that we've talked a little bit about in class. And what that's really going to look like in your role plays is just, as you're going through, as you're asking some of the questions, as you're demonstrating the product, you just want to be engaged with that buyer and make sure that they see the value in the things that you're offering. So maybe you show them something like the contract review service that we covered in one of our last videos. Instead of just spewing out all the information, what you wanted to go to do is slow yourself down and then ask them and say, Hayden, could you see the benefit in having this contract review service, which can save you up to X amount of dollars or X amount of time? Just really getting them to think about it and say it in their own words, how they can see the benefit. Not just assuming that there's that benefit, but really getting them to explicitly say it is going to be really beneficial for you and providing that value that gives you the ability to close.
Absolutely. So these are just some high level pointers for you folks that we thought we should share, a few days before your role plays are due. Last thing on our list is have fun with this. You should be really excited. You're in a unique time when you're using Zoom to do these sales role plays. Like we said in all our videos, this is going to be so pivotal in your career, no matter what direction you're taking it. It's so great to be well versed with communication and presenting yourself, presenting your personal brand. So have a lot of fun with this. Really enjoy yourself and really let each other shine when you're doing these role plays. I think this is a really awesome activity for the class, and I'm excited to see how everyone does. Josh, any closing remarks?
Yeah, I think you summed it up really great there. I think we really enjoyed helping you guys out with your role plays up to this point. like you said, just have fun with it. It's something that me and Hayden have had experience doing in the past, and it can be a lot of fun. So don't be too nervous. Just be relaxed, have fun with it, and I'm sure you're all going to do great. And one last thing, if you guys had any other questions or something following today's meeting up until your role plays, like we've been saying, you can feel free to email us if you'd like, and we'd be happy to answer any last minute questions that you have.
Absolutely. And then one last plug for the Academy of Professional Selling. If by the end of this you found that you absolutely love sales and want to further your knowledge with it, come join us at the Academy of Professional Selling next year. Josh will be leading the ship there, so we're really excited for that. So reach out to us for more information about the Academy of Professional Selling if this is a great fit for you, and rock on, and we can't wait to see how you guys do.
Definitely. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck.